Hey everybody,
Absolutely.
I'm David Libby with 2 pins, and hold on a second. There we go. So the title of this presentation changed, but it didn't change on the website. It didn't change in because I don't think I updated it correctly. So sorry about that, Michael. I was going to talk about the 5 things you can do when it comes to doing PR during a downturn. But the topic of this talk is the 5 things that you can do when you want to accelerate your startup to exit. And in developing this presentation, I realized, it's really not 5 things. It's 3 things that you're already doing, which essentially flags the world that you're ready to exit. And I wanted to teach everyone this today. And for many of you, it's not going to be a lesson. It's going to be a reminder, or it's going to be just an aha moment where you're either on the left side of this slide, where either you're the startup or you're working with a startup, or you're on the right side of the slide, where you're a small to mid-sized enterprise, where you've got an established business that's ready to rock and roll and exit in 4 to 6 months. So on the left side of this slide, a lot of the startups that we work with jump into public relations because the executives are on board, right? That just common sense. They say, I have a product announcement I want to get out. We're going to announce our funding. We've got yada, yada. There's some event that they want to publicize. My question to them is, can you maintain that? Can you maintain that consistency, the consistent news and speaking awards? Why am I saying that? Because what your goal is to use PR to amplify your value proposition. And that takes time. That's not just a splash in the pool, that's a party, right? That's a lot of pool parties that you're having. So people are constantly coming back for more and more and seeing the ripple effect. And then I say to these startups, hey, do you have a PR plan? Oh no, we're too small, we're too nimble, we don't have enough people. Well, you developed your business, you've got business objectives. By the time you bring a PR person on board, it's in your best interest to have a marketing person there first, who's created a marketing plan, somebody who is aligning the marketing objectives with the business objectives, and then PR amplifies it. It's not rocket science, it's a skill set, right? It's something that you do, that I do, where I connect the people who write about your companies to the people who want to be a part of those companies, whether it's the investor, the partner, the customer, the employee. I'm trying to find a connection. Now, on the right side, this is when you've identified your target customers that you were serving with the right product service. What is that called? What is it called when you identify your target customers that you are serving with the right product service? 3 words: product market fit.
Niche.
Yeah, right. Yeah, product. Yeah, similar. And so, thank you for chiming in too, Michael. Product market fit. When you know you've had that, then you have, well, we sometimes will, on the left, look to the left, we'll call it, the MVP, right? The minimum viable product that starts to kind of ramp up. But at this point, you're already going. At this point, the small to medium-sized enterprise already has that. And this train, these wheels are just churning. You've got customers that are telling other customers about your company in numbers. They're not just putting a logo on your website because you asked them to. They're talking to people. Now they want to talk to the media. They want to be positioned as innovators. And then third, they're demonstrating retention. They've got more customers coming on board, more revenue. And what does that generate? Attention. The revenue, the retention creates attention. And when retention creates attention at that level, product market fit, customers are talking about you, they're being quoted in publications, they're talking to analysts, you're generating more revenue, you've got all this retention, you've got all this attention, you'll exit in 4 to 6 months. So the way that we accelerate the startup to the exit from the left side to the right side is, on the left side, it's kind of, warming up the engine, getting it going, right? Greasing those marketing wheels, building the foundation, the position. How are you different? Who are you different to? What are you offering them? To the right side, where, wow, this train, it's racing down the tracks. People are noticing it. And then you break out, then you get acquired, or then you IPO. And the PR helps do that, because the PR helps bring that attention to light. It helps amplify the brand position and your growth. And the reason that I'm stressing this is because I've worked with so many companies that have done this well and been acquired or gone IPO. And the reason they do that, because every single one of them, even as a private company, they've decided to talk about their growth. When they start talking about their growth, whether it's in the public or with the industry analysts, it always leads to new business. It always leads to more customers. It always leads to an exit event. Always. All right, so I just want to pause there and ask if anyone has any questions. I see there's some chats. Let's see if there's any questions in the chat.
Yeah, there was a question. Christine asked what you meant by exit, but I think selling the company.
You answered it, but David, why the assumption that everyone's for sale? I don't, because I don't, some people are not, some people are not. So
yeah,
and maybe that's just because how you anchored your presentation. So I just
Exactly. That's exactly how I anchor my presentation. Okay. I have worked with a lot of companies that do not want to exit. They don't have an exit strategy when they start their business. They want to have a lifestyle business. They want to build a business. They're not thinking about IPO or acquisition or liquidity, thankfully. And in that case, on the right column here, they just keep going. They might get offers along the way, but they may not want them. And I'm sure all of us can name a lot of companies that have gone through this, that, many mom and pop companies, as a matter of fact, a significant number of them across this country that do quite well, including my own parents' company that never exited, never IPO'd, but they were able to amplify their brand position and build their business nonetheless by focusing on these three areas, amplifying these three areas with their marketing, with their PR. So yeah, good question, Christine. That's just specifically how I tethered this conversation. Oops. All right. Well, that's what I've got, Michael. I 15 minutes. I figured I would just.
Well, I mean, you're definitely at. You have 7 minutes left. If anybody wants to have a discussion around it or more questions for David, I know, David, that your focus is what percentage of your business is with companies that are looking to exit?
Oh gosh, 99.9999.
Oh, it's all okay.
Yeah, I think it's just because of my network, or just kind of growing up in Silicon Valley the last 20 some odd years. They just see that golden goose. Yeah, it's amazing. And I don't encourage it. I don't discourage it, but I see it. It's like when that's why I wanted to outline it today, is because if you see those three things happening in your organization, there is an opportunity that you might have thought of. But then, I wouldn't recommend that either, because you do want to plan for your exit in the beginning of the business. You don't want to all of a sudden think about exiting. But I have had clients like that as well.
So what is it? Can you give us I know that you've got the $1 billion story. Is there another one, or is that one a good example of exactly how this process works? And you don't have to mention any client names.
Yeah, I mean, it's so different for every different company, right? And the best thing I can say is that, if you're running a company or you're representing a company and you're not sure about whether or not they need PR, I highly recommend you consult with someone that can look at that marketing and see if there's an opportunity for PR to benefit you. Today I talked to a guy who raised $40 million in January. He said he thinks 3 years of runway. He's got all these fintech clients, yet he wants to get into 2 other industries. And I said, you're not ready for PR, because you haven't proven that your business model can really speak to those industries. And, you know, some may argue and say, well, you know, you can do thought leadership, you can get your name out there, da, 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 da. I think that's great if you're a public speaker. Even public speakers have to have stories to speak to, successes, case studies. But if you're a business, if you can't prove your value proposition, I mean, I don't see the point in doing PR. I think you're better off holding that back and not publicizing your company until you have a story to tell, that you can tell, that you can build upon, or you can be part of a narrative.
So he's not ready for PR in those other two segments, but would he be for fintech?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
He'd be a rock star in the fintech world, but he doesn't need it. He's got a thriving business. I mean, to Christine's point, that he's not going to exit. It's going really well. He doesn't need the PR. He's got the sales engine going, but he thought he needed the PR to say, "Hey, now we're in this."
Oh, I see. And what would be? You mentioned a couple of topics. You know, major sales, I guess. You know, major contracts, partnerships, fundraising. What are the categories of things that people speak about? Customer experiences or stories?
Yeah, most of the folks that work with us, funny enough, come to us because they have a new product update. It's not that they have a new product, it's that they have a new product update. And they're going to a conference and they want to publicize their product update at a conference, like the RSA conference, this big security conference is coming up in June. If a company is exhibiting, they have the list of media attending. And although it's too late to pitch the media, because I'm sure their schedules are all booked up, a month or two ago, if they said, hey, we have a product, we could say, okay, so they have media who cover that product. But then I also say, okay, what comes after that product? And if they don't have an answer, then again, it's like a big splash in the pool and it's all for naught. Because I think the goal is to, once you've established those relationships with the media, you want to continue to have relationships. You want to build those relationships, right? In many ways, you want to show them, hey, look at this trend. Hey, look, Gartner just came out with this. Hey, look at that. Hey, you know, I did this and I have opinion on that. Maybe they'll interview you, maybe they won't, but you're getting to know them. They're getting to know you. So when they do need someone to speak to, you're top of mind. But then also one last thing.
Christine has a question, by the way.
Go ahead, Christine.
You know, and I think this is a really great topic. I mean, it's very interesting to me. I don't know about everybody else, but you know what? You know, so how do you? I'm really curious, Dave, because you're pro. You've done this. You know what works, right? But how do you convince the CEO who is because I run into a lot of them that are like, oh yeah, you know, we just want to show up in no jitter or in TechCrunch, or we're going to do pay for play, right? There's a lot of paid placements out there. And and to them, that's PR, right? And we all know it's not, right? But to them, that is, versus this conscious building of a perception of the brand marketplace. So how do you break through and get them to open to a different mindset, the right mindset? Yeah, that's a great question. And the most successful organizations bring PR and marketing together. And that's really how I do it. I don't work in a silo. I don't try to convince them that they have to get press. The marketing team says, you know, we have our overall marketing objective. We've established a great value prop, mission and vision. We've got messages. We've got these events coming up. We've got these announcements coming up. This is our product roadmap. And so we can prospectively see down the road what may happen. Now, whether or not it happens depends upon the basketball team, right? Because we all got to play this game together. Either, you know, we got it or we don't. But we at least have a plan of what we're going to do together. It's not just about the PR. The CEOs that have come to me and said, it's all about the PR. Here's a magazine, get us into this magazine, and this is going to make us, it only once has had great luck with a guy I work with who just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and Silicon Valley Bank invited him to speak after I got him into the Red Herring magazine, if any of you remember that, and he raised $1 million and sold his company to a company in Shanghai. Great, good for him. Good luck doing that. It has to be an integrated marketing approach.
David Adelman has his hand raised anyway.
Raise my hand. I think it kind of goes to Christine's question, and that if you're thinking about exit, sometimes the buyer of your business is coming from a different place. So just sticking with the endemic, media in the category that you operate in doesn't allow you to communicate with people outside. And as David knows, there's a lot of PE money out there snatching up businesses. They might be reading TechCrunch, they might not be reading TechCrunch. So you have to go beyond your core endemic media property.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a client that the first thing she said to me was she wanted to be in the Wall Street Journal because Schwab owned most of her email marketing agency. And I said, what's your goal? What do you want? She said, we want to get MBA and American Express and others as clients. And I heard that bell, Michael. I'll say real quick. I said, don't go to the Wall Street Journal, go to American Banker. That's the Bible for those companies. And the Schwab agreed to be interviewed by American Banker. We did the case study thing. MBA and American Express became clients within the next 3 months. There was never a journal story. So yeah, exactly right. Fish where the fish are. And thank you everybody for taking your time to listen to me today. And if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. I got my listing up in the Trusted Referral Network. So thank you for that.
Under 2 pins. By the way, what does 2 pins stand for? Where does the name come from? It's an unusual name.
Yeah, well, in computers, there's pins, right? And between the pins, there's communication. And that's how the computers can communicate, right? They have the pin, there's 1 pin, there's 2 pins, and there's a communication between the pins. So there's 2 pins.
I know a lot about computers. What are you talking about when you say pins?
Well, there's pins. They call them pins, right? The conductors, and there's communication between the pins.
Oh, okay.
And the processing port.
It's a silicon.
Oh, you pins on a chip. I get it. Yeah,
yes.
I got it. Yeah, interesting.
Processing
Okay.
port.
Yeah, I don't think about it anymore that way because there's lots of different ways to bind a chip to a substrate. Anyway,
I love it.
I know more about that than I should.
I was just gonna say, yeah, there he goes.
So for our guests, our 2 guests who are here for the first time, Nancy and Christine. This is the Trusted Referral Network, and we do meet weekly. We alternate between Tuesday evenings at 5 p.m. Eastern and Wednesday mornings the following week at 11 a.m. So we usually get between 10 and 15 people. Today we have 12, 13. So that gives us usually about, if we have a presentation like we had today, it usually gives everybody about 2 to 3 minutes to give a brief intro. I usually set it to about, again, 2 to 3 minutes. Today, let's go with 2 minutes. That'll make sure we have enough buffer if somebody runs over as well. And the idea is just introduce yourself, tell people what your focus is, how you help your clients. If you're looking for anything specifically, what your ask is, and what you might be able to offer up. And if you can, I think it's helpful to try to mention something that will make you memorable, hobby, something that stands out. Again, if you're not meeting face to face, we're meeting virtually, of course, that's great, better than a phone call. But if you can also say, this is my passion, or this is what I'm doing, I think that helps as well. So I did put in the chat the order in which people showed up. Jason, of course, just showed up, so you would be going at the end, Jason. So I have a timer. I'm going to put it for set it for 2 minutes, and I will hold it up, and you'll hear it ringing. If everybody else would go on mute, so the person who is speaking, in this case, Rajiv, you'll start. Then Christine, then David, Libby. David, you've already gone, so unless you want to, I think you're covered. David Adelman in that order, and then continuing on with Jason at the end. I will put you in speaker mode, and Rajiv, take it away.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if this works.
R-Square Media. Be seen or not be seen. In the age of COVID-19, all we have is online. Online meetings, online interactions. How we appear online is critical to our business success. Clients say, I want to be seen on page 1 of Google, on page 1 of YouTube, on page 1 of Instagram, on page 1 of Facebook. Are you ready for your customers? Does your website have a modern design? Is it easy to use and understand? Does your website have fun videos? Do you have 5-star reviews? R-Square Media also helps you not be seen. How? 1-star reviews deleted from Amazon, from Google, from Facebook. Bad press deleted from Google. Risk-free, success guaranteed, or your money back. Haters gonna hate, but bad press and bad reviews don't have to be your fate. Don't wait and request a free consultation.
Got 36 seconds left. Want to add to that?
Yeah, so my ask is to meet with a lot of my business comes from agency partners. And my ask is for referrals from agency partners that do either PR, internet marketing, Facebook ads, things like that. And the agency partners either white labels what we do or like gives us the referral and we do a revenue share with them. So either way they get paid. So, and if you'd like to learn more, please reach out to me.
Which percentage of your business is reputation management versus more standard SEO?
I would say it's mostly reputation management, and we're beginning to do thought leadership work as well. So I would say it's about like 80% reputation management.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Christine from Northern California.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try and do this. I don't have a snazzy video, so I'm feeling a lot of pressure right now. So we're gonna try and do this another way. Rajiv, don't look at my website, you'll cringe in horror. So I'm with New Business Strategies. We have been around for 30 years. What we focus on is customer engagement, right? So we actually forensically understand what customers want in their engagement with brands, and we operationalize that internally. So I start off with experience is different from engagement. Buyers, meaning, that could is a generic term. Own defining their own experience, they own defining the journey, and the seller's responsibility is to own understanding and delivering value in ways that consistently meet these evolving expectations. So work is grounded in a model that I developed over 12 years ago based on thousands of B2B interviews. Our model has held across multiple industries and multiple countries in the world. And we have been blessed to work with some large and small brands and consistently deliver 20 to 40% increase in value by, again, forensically understanding what makes customers delighted and what turns them off, and helping sales, customer success, and marketing align their activities and investments to that. So I don't know how much.
Wonderful. Yeah. We have 25 seconds left. When I think of the term forensically, I think of criminal investigation. Is there?
Well, no,
there's no association with that.
No, not at all. But if you look at forensically in the world of accounting, if you look at forensically in the world, it's really, we use very structured methodology. We use a lot of qualitative research. I learned how to do qualitative research getting my doctorate. There is, it's not something everybody on the street picks up, but we actually really deconstruct that journey at a very granular level. And it's amazing because we can tell you what someone's going to do next and what makes them tick. And it's total. I have stories galore, but so much fun.
Wonderful. You'll have to tell a story as a showcase presenter sometime soon. Okay. Thank you so much, David Adelman.
Yeah, I'm not going to show slides or videos or anything, even though they're great. So I run a company called OCD Media. We are a paid media agency. So we do everything from localized Facebook and Google search ads to network television. We even do some international work, good deal of work in Canada, a little less outside North America. Our specialty is working with challenger brands or brands in need of a turnaround. So we have a great track record in helping brands that have been in decline, change their fortunes by putting them in a position where they're able to launch new products successfully, or just, stop a sales decline that, could have been happening for multiple years. The agency is based in New York, even though I'm actually in South Carolina now, but we're operating on a distributed workforce. So I now have team members in Serbia and Panama, as well as in the US. As far as asks, if someone at a company that's struggling and needs some new ideas to accelerate their growth or to stop a precipitous sales decline, I'd be happy to have a conversation with them to see if we can help them. As far as a give, I'm very well connected at all levels in people in marketing agencies or at the clients themselves. And I'm always open to giving recommendations and referrals to people. So, let's just reach out. Look me up on LinkedIn.
Thank you so much. And I can attest and vouch for David being a extremely well-connected and good connector. He's a bunch of Slack channels and that I'm on, as well as I'm sure many others, and always connecting people. Thank you, David. And congratulations on your move and your new acquisition of your all-electric vehicle. Lee Barnathan.
The feeling you get when you go through the drive-through window and you get home to find out they got your order wrong. People come to me feeling just like that when they gnash their teeth at night, thinking about that meeting where they tried and failed to convince others that they're different from everybody else. And let's face it, swimming in a sea of millions that act, sound, think, and are alike makes it almost impossible to stand out. Maybe you've tried to do the writing or editing yourself, but you felt frustrated because the writing or editing took so much time and you got no profit from it. Or maybe you've worked with writers and editors and that left you feeling disenchanted and disillusioned because you felt like they didn't understand you. You felt like you wasted time and money and you're not sure you want to try somebody new. And I understand. It's not easy to find somebody who's understanding and describing your thoughts, feelings, and passions, doing it your way in your voice. You want a true partner in the writing process or the editing process. You want someone who quickly recognizes that what you do is significant and that what's written is attention grabbing, true to your vision and brand, and converts. And that's what I do. I'm Lee Barnathan with LB Communications. My clients appreciate that they're being heard, understood, and validated. They love that the story gets told their way in their voice. And they get excited that the writing or editing attracts more attention than their competition. And they love the financial rewards that come with that kind of copy that converts. So if you feel gun shy, because you can't find a writer or an editor who understands that what you have to say is valuable, who writes your marketing copy that reflects your passion, who earns you business, I can change your opinion of writers and editors and what they can do for you and your marketing. And similarly, if you're fed up with your own marketing materials because they don't rise to the level you need them to, I can provide a different style of writing or editing that'll transform your copy. Because I instill confidence by helping you find the right words that communicate what makes you remarkable and compelling to the people you want to serve. This ensures that your messaging always stands out in a crowd. You'll no longer feel the frustration of being just another brick in the Great Wall of China.
Thank you. That's perfect. That's exactly 2 minutes. I guess you had practiced in time then. Wonderful. So Lee is a copywriter based in California, north of Los Angeles. Is that correct?
No, in Los Angeles proper.
In Los Angeles proper. Okay. You do a lot of work with PR agencies. And David, or did you write your own? David Libby, you write your own copy? pretty much? Okay,
Yes and no.
okay.
Yeah, I've talked to Lee. Yeah,
Maybe talk to Lee. Wonderful.
yeah. I hope to send him some business.
Cool. Well, you guys are definitely in the same time zone, right on the same fault line, in fact. Okay.
I'm actually not on that fault line. I'm on a different fault line, but trust me, if
Different fault
Andrew's
line.
fault would collapse, I'd feel it
It's
too.
nobody's fault. Yeah, we're thinking
So-
anyways. So there you go.
We're all thinking. Scott Lange, you're up.
Oh, no, Scott's back. Oh, God.
Scott Lange.
Yep,
Are you there?
here we are.
There you go. Go for it.
Well, most of you are familiar with me, and I want to welcome those that are new here. Nice to see my old friends, Michael and Rajiv, and many of you, David and I. I've been working in partnerships and alliances for a long time, or marrying brands with stuff, sponsorship. This is something I just occurred, is that I'm going to leave the entrepreneurial space for, we'll see how long. And I just accepted a position at a company some of you have heard of, I'm sure, like David Adelman may have heard of, PSP Sports. They're the game day program, the yearbooks for every major sport league and all the major NCAA sports in the country. As was retold to me, there's only one team that they don't represent, and that's the Yankees, which is very typical of the Yankees and the Steinbrenner legacy. So I don't have much to tell you other than I'm wrapping up my digital marketing clients and my advisory business with a couple of brands that I'm working with. And then, going back to a 9 to 5, which is amazing for me because some of you know that I'm not a youngster anymore. Thank you.
And best of luck with it. And if you need help, of course, closing out, tying up some loose ends with any of your existing clients and could use that help from this group, anybody in the network, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, well, I don't know that I'll be gone. I mean, I may be less frequently on TRN, but I don't anticipate leaving. I want to learn more about what PSP's got in mind than what we've gone through so far. So
Wonderful.
Thank
Okay.
you very much for all the good wishes, though. I appreciate them.
Absolutely. And Brian Butkowski, you're up.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Michael. Thanks for everyone for allowing me to be a part of this team. It's pretty awesome to be here. So for those that don't know me, I am Brian Butkowski. My company is Bomb Image. I help entrepreneurs and professional service firms to gain clarity, confidence, and comfortability by demystifying branding and marketing. That's what I like to say. Really, I ask a lot of questions and help people understand themselves. The one thing that I'd like to say, just to even try and separate myself, is I'm a creative or a designer that really leaves the emotions at the door. That's what I think can really separate me from a lot of people out there. But again, I really try to be objective and help people to really dig deep and understand themselves and get objective, ask why, ask lots of why questions, why somebody likes something, somebody doesn't. But basically, I'm an outsourced branding and marketing partner. I've been a marketing manager of small businesses as the team of 1 or 2 throughout my career. And really, I'm offering that kind of service to lots of smaller firms at this point. So my ask today would be, if you know of a professional service firm, and what I mean by that is a financial advisor, CPA, or lawyer, that maybe they're a solopreneur or a small team that doesn't have the time or the expertise to, again, move forward with their marketing ideas or need some fresh ones themselves. I'd love to help them try to understand what they need to get done and get that produced for them. I'm based in Cleveland, Ohio, but I can help people around the country or the world, whatever the case may be. I guess my gift today would be, like others, feel free, please. I'd love to link on LinkedIn and share my network with you, see how we can help each other. I'm Brian Bukowski, and my passion is inspiring clients to create their bomb image.
Very cool. And I didn't know that there was such a word as comfortability. It's hard to say, but it does exist. You don't hear it all that much.
I've been asked about that. It kind of fit along with what I was doing, and it's very difficult to say, which is a tough one. But if I can provoke somebody to ask a question about it or think about it, I think that's a good thing.
So it's comfortability. So you have to say the word comfort first before you try to slip in the end.
Right.
Comfortability. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, and by the way, I learned last night, I tried it and I got away with it on Scrabble that quo, like status quo is not a valid Scrabble word.
Is that like saying cotton as opposed to cotton?
What's that? Comfortability or quo?
Yeah, his comfortability, right? Yeah.
No, comfortability. Okay, let's see. Ken Simon, you're up.
I'm trying to figure out how to say comfortability in a sentence, but I haven't come up with it yet. I'm Ken Simon, KBS Marketing. I work with small and mid-sized businesses, helping them try to make them comfortability. No, that doesn't work. I work with small and mid-sized businesses, helping them understand who their customers are, what their needs are, and then help develop strategies for them to reach those customers and grow their business. I work with companies in the fintech space, technology, financial services, B2B, usually companies in the $1 million plus sales, minimum of $1 million plus. I like working with companies who know what they're doing instead of like throwing things to the wall and trying to figure out what's going to stick, and then developing a strategy based on that. A lot of the stuff I've done recently has been in the startup realm, but it's also been in growth marketing, I guess, or demand generation roles. I also want to thank Michael for introducing me to Tom. I had a great conversation with him. Didn't realize he worked in the Seaport area where I used to work a long time ago. So it's like we were trading areas and restaurants in that area to get good clams. Anyway, that's who I am. That's what I do. And any way I can help anybody with their customers, if they have questions about the financial services, insurance, please let me know. I'd be happy to help them with those areas.
No longer working with the rocket company, from what I understand.
Well,
a little bit.
I don't know. I'm trying to get somebody to sign a contract. We're until month 4 now, and it's like the launch has been delayed.
No pun intended. Okay, let's see. That was Ken. Nancy Ruzow. Is it Ruzow? Is that way?
It's Ruzo.
Ruzo. Okay.
Designed by Creative for the University of Oxford, helped land a $240 million donation for a new building. And new season materials, including a 376-page document for the NFL, rookie players, and training guides, help the players and coaches enter the world of digital materials. I'm Nancy Ruzo, a graphic designer who helps my clients see how the right design connects the dots between their brand and their customers. I work with marketers and marketing departments, writers, and agencies as their design partner, and sometimes as their strategist. My ask is for one-on-one meetings to discuss collaboration. I'm happy to connect on LinkedIn as well. That's
okay. Thank you. That was fast. And you also run
I run a creative accountability group
right.
for designers, writers, web developers, photographers, marketing people, social media people.
So Nancy is a community builder, so that's always great and a great networker.
Nancy, I have a question for you. Do you work on pitch decks?
I do.
Okay, so let's talk.
Okay, sounds good.
That's good to know. Okay, yeah, there's always questions about pitch decks. And based in Westport, Connecticut?
Westport, Connecticut, and then I also have a shared space in the city on Broadway and 29.
Right. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And Nancy was referred by a coach, I believe, and went straight to the site, added a listing, which was great. And we had a conversation this past week.
Yeah.
Okay. Nancy, Andre.
Hello, everybody. Great to see Michael and David. Trying to think. I know I've chatted with Jason before and Ken as well. And Rajiv and I actually we went to the same college and I ran the alumni chapter for 15 years. So we go back a ways. My name is Andre Archambault. I have just about 2 months ago initiated a transition from a role in which I had been 12 years with a combination of a company called Reach Local, and that company was acquired by Gannett, the folks who own USA Today. So I started there 12 years ago. They acquired Reach Local in 2016. And David will understand this when I say this. I was always kind of a square peg in a round hole around there. David's been very, very valuable. Michael, I think you may have made a connection or two for me as well. But in the rush and crush to get interviews in and going, I may have forgotten who they were. But I've got 18 years in media sales, marketing, advertising. I also have a unique skill set around podcast production. I spent the first 10 years of my career working in network news from 1994 to 2004. So I'm also looking at opportunities in those kinds of spaces and places. So I'll put my details in the chat. I think I'm connected to those that I've mentioned. But if you have any thoughts, ideas, brainstorm. I'll also throw my Calendly link in there if anyone has any particular congratulations to Mr. Lange. He has been through the ringer with me over the last year and a half related to things with Gannett, and I appreciate his particular brand of patience.
Thank you, Andre.
Of course.
All right. Michael Falato.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? Michael Fulato. I'm going to share maybe one slide or two. Let me see. You guys could see it?
It says start. Yep, see it.
So I'm a lead gen guy. I do automation. At least 3 or 4 people on this call or in this group have given me great leads. So I want to thank you very much for it. This has been a very good marketing group, and I'm excited to share those leads with other people when I get them. Basically, I can do things that most people can't do. They normally hire an SDR, sales development rep. Those are kids that are starting their job and trying to get leads for people. They're not really qualified at this point, and they're about $5,000 a month or more. That's what the going rate is. So basically, what I've done is automate LinkedIn and email. I can send out 20 to 30,000 emails at most a month, or send out 1,000. But I can automate it. I can basically have a database of 240 million, and I also have about 720 million people on LinkedIn and can send out 150 invites a day. Most people can't do that. So I can help you grow your business. For the folks on this call, I can help your clients grow their business without even having to do tons of manual work. If you look at my slide here, I worked with Warner Brothers. I brought in NFL for TechStation, which is when I met Scott Lange. NFL is not hard to get into. It's very hard to get into. So that's 6-man company, brought in $300,000, built on USTA, AT&T, Sprint, Verizon, 35 professional sports teams. Got in. I was also in SaaS and did a lot of HR tech, a lot of big platforms that tie into other platforms, and also served in the reserves, the Air Force National Guard for 12 years. And I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So that's kind of my background. My nickname, Full Throttle, came from a Marine, and I'm an Air Force guy. So if you know anything about the Marines and the Air Force, they don't mesh really well. And so it's a pretty cool name, and cool story that I tell how I got that name. So I've always gotten names just because I've been very, very aggressive, like Monster Mike at Monster. So right now it's Full Throttle. Until I get another job, I'll never do that. So it's going to be Full Throttle for the rest of my life. Thank you for your time, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. You said Air Force, right? You were with the Air Force?
Yeah, Air Force. I was a jet mechanic on a KC-135 tanker, which is the ones that fly underneath.
Oh, right. Fueling tankers. Yeah.
Fuel, yeah. And then because I was a videographer, a production guy, I switched to the video department after 3 years because I did not like working on these big jets in 150-degree weather in a hangar. And so I started doing what I went to school for, and then found internet, and then started selling it. And then I got out of production and been doing sales since 1994, 93.
And Scott vouches for you, says that you could sell, proverbial snowballs to Eskimos. So,
Yeah, Michael's good.
Thank you.
oh, was it David? Was it David Adelman who said that originally, or was it Scott Lange? I don't know.
No, it must have been Scott Lang. I was just.
No, but David was thinking it. You could tell.
David was thinking it. Okay, let's move on. Jason Ciment, you're up.
I'm up. You know what? I'm gonna do like everybody else.
Michael Falato, you still have your screen being shared. Can you unshare?
Well, I was hoping he would talk about me because it's all about.
There you go.
Let me show you something. Okay, so I'm Jason Ciment. I run an agency. I have two sides of me, which is why I've got my Batman in the back. So during the day, I have my Bruce Wayne identity is an agency called Get Visible. We're really the implementer of the strategist. So strategist comes in and says, you need to get rankings, you need to get ads done, you need to get all these things done. So then they call us and say, do it. So for the clients that can't afford to pay for the strategy, we pretend we could do it, but we're not strategists. We're the deployment team. So I want to show you one example of my philosophy in SEO. This is a site in case you want a really cool tool, Whimsical. You can create this really beautiful flow chart. So this is our SEO ranking strategy. I'm not going to go into all the details, but just give you an idea that it's pretty deep, even though it looks simple. And this is enabling us to close business pretty well. To talk about the content strategy, coding in the website. We just call him backlinks community because it starts with a C. It's just another way of talking about backlinks and different types. Correlation is where all the secret sauce happens in SEO, which is figuring out, hey, I got all the content. I did my website. It's performing great on Lighthouse and I got backlinks. Why are other people beating me? That happens in here. And then this is for the people that don't know anything about SEO. What's the difference between domain authority and rankings? Like, why do they work together? So, and then for local, all these other things. So I just wanted to share something that gives you a little bit of an idea of how deep we go in terms of sharing strategy, with clients. The other side of me, which Michael Bendit knows about, is the e-commerce platform. So we started a platform in 2003. So I was in e-commerce since '96, and I bought out the company that built my website. And we've been building it, put millions of dollars into it. And in case a client comes to you and says, hey, I got to build something online, and it's not a standard store. It could be an e-commerce, but it could be something more where there's some transactionality. We have this Lego block system. It's called Adricom. It's in my signature above. We can build something probably in a quarter of the time, and similarly discount of a cost, where if you're the guy bringing in or the person bringing in the deal, you can make a lot more money rather than building something from scratch. So if you have a quote or a spec, it's worth bringing it to me. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason. And that leads into, I haven't forgotten anybody, have I? I don't want to. Okay. Now's the time, or forever hold your peace, or at least for this meeting. So timer, my name is Michael Bendit. I'll start off by saying that I represent a bunch of teams, software development teams, including Adricom. And Adricom, it does have a unique offering, and all of my teams have different niches. My job is to make the match between the client, the prospect, and the right team. And there's lots of different dimensions that go into that, right? There's the technology. What's the right technology? Do they already have a technology they have to stick with, or are they open to using other technologies? Do they want to use open source, or do they want to use something that is a proprietary system? We do most of our work is with open source systems. Do they want to use an offshore team to save money, or a dual shore team to save money, but not have to deal with some of the complexities of going offshore, time zone differences, cultural differences, language differences? So that's my role. My background, I've been doing sales, marketing, and consulting in the tech world for pretty much my entire career. I love to talk about tech, but I was not, even though I studied both computer science, engineering, and business, I was not built to actually do the tech, do the programming. But I understand the mindset of the programmer. And so my real role is bridging that gap between the business need and the technical solution. So I had a call today with a prospect who I am connecting with Adricom It was a very interesting connection call. The CEO of Adracom is a Russian Jew who lived 20 years in Israel. Left Israel because it was one of the reasons he said he left is because there's too much sort of combativeness between people. Maybe it's because they're always fighting. But the client prospect was an Israeli, so it was quite a call. They went off into Hebrew and were at it. This is people that just met each other. But the end of the call was, okay, let's see what we can do together. That's just the style. So that's part of being a matchmaker, is understanding. I did know that the founder of Adracom was Israeli as well, so I figured they would somehow be able to connect with each other. But more importantly, I think it's the right solution. So we do have just a couple minutes left. So I'm going to switch back to the gallery mode. Thank you all for coming. Any questions, comments? We do have lots of openings for showcases coming up. So if anybody wants to take 15 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes to get the discussion going, showcase what they do, talk about a topic where they've got some expertise. We always like to do a 15-minute showcase at the beginning. The sign up is on the website. If you go under events, I think it's the third or fourth drop down is sign up for a showcase. And as you all know, somebody's bringing something up. No, they're not bringing something up. As you all know, we do meet Tuesday evenings at this time for an hour, and subsequent alternate between Wednesday mornings, which will be next week, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. on the West Coast. By the way, I'm flying out tomorrow to San Francisco. I have to go to a funeral, unfortunately, but I will be Thursday. I'm actually going to be going to a trade show at the Westin by the airport. It is Digimarcon, Silicon Valley. So if anybody wants to connect, who's out there in person, so that, I guess, David, you're up in that area. I think you're the only one, right? Oh, Christine's sort of in
Christine's far. In San Francisco. Yep.
Yeah, well, she's closer to Santa Cruz, right?
Yeah, I'm literally like closer to Santa Cruz, but but I'm supposed to be in the city that evening, so I'll see how the schedule holds out. Maybe we can hook up.
Yeah, absolutely. With that evening meeting, Wednesday or Thursday?
Good. Let me look at the calendar. My brain is like I
you
don't
can
know
ping
what's
me.
going
You don't have to. We don't have to do it on the call. Thursday. Yeah, that might work. I have a red eye back, so I may have some time afterwards.
Michael, why doesn't the invites have the Zoom link in it? I have to go to the website and get it every time I look at.
Yeah, I like to keep track of and have people register so I can basically see who's registered. And that's the only way for me to do it.
Yeah.
That's one way for me to do it. I'm sure there are other ways.
Like they say,
but yeah, it's a two-step process.
It's easy to do, Michael. I did it 1 minute before the call started. And
yeah, that's what I always do.
I got it right, guys.
Digitally. Okay, thanks so much, everybody.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Michael, Michael, I have several people in San Francisco. So if you want to meet with people either in tech or in marketing, just let me know. I'm happy to make the introduction.
Yeah, I'm only there for a short period of time, but I appreciate that.
Okay, sure. Let me know.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Take care.
Take care.